Welcome to Lincolnshire, welcome to Grimsby. Stayed in Grimsby town last night, I've been to Cleethorpes already this morning, back to Grimsby docks, and now I'm going to walk a kilometre down the road to another request stop. So what you've got is this overbridge, which used to be a road but it's now a footpath, and this looks down onto the single track line. We get some Transpennine services, we'll have a fast one later, but there's a local 2-hourly stopping service between Barton-on-Humber down to Cleethorpes and the rather odd station that is Newcley. My train's not for like another 90 minutes, it's ridiculous. So, not the first time I've been here. Back in early 2017, crikey, February, when we did all the stations, Vicky and I recorded a pilot episode. It's Saturday morning.
Which way are we going?
We're going that way. And we visited Cleethorpes and the railway down there.
Driver Aaron is going to sit on the back of the tender and he's going to let you drive the engine back round onto the other end of the train.
And then we got dropped off by John, I remember, at this station. We've come to Newcley. Thanks John for the ride. And I think this was the first time that Vicky had ever done a request stop. And we deliberately come to Newcley so that Vicky in a minute can hold out her hand. So she had that moment. I remember her kind of awkwardly holding her polystyrene box with her sandwich in one hand. Is this the first time you've ever flagged down a train before?
This is very exciting. I'm like, how do I know if it's going to start?
And then sticking our arm out, because it is a stick your hand out station. The waiting shelter, because there's not much else here. Single platform station, Cleethorpes that way. We'll talk about numbers and frequency in a minute. I wanted to say that Newcley, sort of part of Cleethorpes, the word Clee, by the way, means clay. Thorpe is an old Viking word for a village, so Cleethorpes means clay village. But here in Clee, you've got Old Clee just down the way and Newcley. This is a very industrious area. Grimsby, of course, famous for being a big fishing town, big fishing industry here. So I'm not really sure what this serves, apart from this car park and some industrial units over there. I can, though, see an abandoned platform. Back by the entrance, such as it is, I've noticed there's a poster about the Community Rail Partnership and the Humber Link Line. All you need to know about the Barton to Cleethorpes CRP, Community Rail. But the signage there seems to suggest that that's sort of organised, run, sponsored by Cross Country. On the train in this morning, I got chatting to the guard who was wearing a Transpennine badge, and he confirmed that he was Transpennine staff. And this is clearly a northern route with a northern station because there's northern posters, and yet the train was an East Midlands one. So it's a northern route, I think, using East Midlands stock with Transpennine crew with a cross-country rail partnership. I'm not sure what's going on there. If you know what's going on, let me know. It's a bit desolate. Although there's a road there, so there's traffic, but I mean, I'm the only passenger. It's averaging about like 4 a day or something at the moment. It only gets, I think, a Monday to Saturday service with 6 trains going in that direction and 5 going in that direction, so 11 trains a day. From what I'm aware, there's no winter Sunday service, but there might be a summer Sunday service, but at the moment that I'm recording this, there's no Sunday trains. What is interesting and confusing, if you download my request stop map, link below, which is where I'm keeping track of where all the request stops in Great Britain are, and it's this little solitary outpost just to the south of Grimsby. As you can see on the map there, it says Newcley, and then I put an asterisk by it, and if you look over in the key, you can see that we've had some fun and confusion as to whether it is a request stop. Newcley. National Rail lists Newcley as a request stop, but with summer Sunday trains always stopping. So the summer Sunday services aren't request trains. However, in the northern timetable, the station has the request X marked against it at all times. So there's like a nationwide national rail timetable and then the local northern timetable. But as we discussed earlier, with it being EMR trains with TPE staff crew on the northern rail service, the northern franchise, kind of up in the air at the moment. It might change. I think by May it's all going to flip over to being an East Midlands Railway thing, but still staffed by TPE crews. But whether they then muck about with is it request stop on what days, who knows? But it is a request stop, and I will be sticking my hand out later to get the 10:58 in about an hour's time. There's a lot of trucks here. This somewhat better. When doing my research on Newcley, I decided that it sounded a bit like nuclear, as in nuclear. And I got chatting to my friend Dave, and in the absence of what the heck else to say about Newcley, we came up with some terrible puns. I now present to you in a feature that I'm calling Just for you. We came up with this following list. Nuclei waste, that'll be the litter bin. Nuclei fallout, that'll be litter. And there is some litter here. Nuclear power, that would be the street lamp. I'm going to get cutaways of all of these, it's going to be awesome. Nuclear shelter, it's got a shelter. Come on! I like this one. Nuclear deterrent is the lack of trains. It makes you not want to come here. And then finally my favourite, nuclear free zone. The lack of ticket barriers. You can just wander in. There's no ticket machine. There's no custom information screen. There's no PA. There's just the litter bin. Sorry, the nuclear waste. The nuclear shelter. We didn't come up with a pun for the bench. Nuclear seat. Doesn't work, does it? Puns welcome. How can we pun nuclear bench, nuclear seat? Suggestions in the YouTube comments, please. YouTube, I kid you not, you're not going to believe me. Remember when we were at Faygate doing least used Faygate and the police turned up? Well, I'm squatted down here just reading this sign about the Saturday only service through Brigg and Curtin Lindsey and stuff, when a car pulls up here and two gentlemen get out and I hear the crackle of a radio and they're police officers. And they've got reports that down there, beyond that 40 sign in the distance, under the curved bridge, which is where I got the aerial shot from earlier, that there were some people like hanging out, getting up to no good, and he showed me his badge, and he went down, he walked down the line, and he checked out what was going on. There's no one there. I didn't want to get it on camera. They genuinely just pulled up in an unmarked police car. It was very exciting. There we go, hooray! Something happened at Newcley. Yeah, there ain't much else going on. It's 10:10. I've got nothing to do except wait 50 minutes for my train, and there's no local shop. I really need to go and have a That is Newcley request stop, another one ticked off. There is a link in the description to my map of all the request stops in Great Britain. I'm slowly getting around them all. Is that why is that that doesn't help? Bye.